Essential Sam Raimi movies you need to watch before Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. If you have had the pleasure of experiencing all of Sam Raimi's filmography, you must consider yourself lucky and prepared for his upcoming and most awaited film, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Mr. Raimi has several cinematic gems under his belt to go around. From splasher and slasher, to demonic spirits to cursed objects, there's something of everything. Here are some essential Raimi films you need to add to your list before watching Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Brace yourselves to dig your teeth into some of Raimi's most meaty movies. Let's begin, shall we? Number 1. Drag Me to Hell, 2009. Christine Brown is a bank loan officer who lives in Los Angeles, and when her boss advises her to toughen up, Christine ends up repossessing the house of an elderly European woman, Slivia Ganesh, who was begging for a third extension on her mortgage. Soon after, the security guards arrive. Slivia is forced to leave but manages to ambush and attack Christine in the garage, and ends up cursing her. Eventually, Christine and her boyfriend, Clay, decide to visit a fortune teller, who tells them that a dark spirit of some kind is haunting Christine. After that, things take a dark turn when this spirit begins attacking her at home and at work, and that's when she decides that she must beg for forgiveness from the woman who cursed her, but soon discovers that Ganesh had passed away. With no other option, she returns to the fortune teller, who tells her about the cursed button, the powerful demon called Lamia, and a sacrifice, which leads to Christine sacrificing her cat, hoping for this to end, but it doesn't. More trips to the fortune teller and trying to figure out how she can get rid of this evil spirit. Christine has to endure a lot, but will it all eventually come to an end? Will she finally be free of Lamia? This film serves the purpose of reinvention of Sam Raimi's Evil Dead franchise to the modern era. The characters make this worth a watch or two, with the sweet innocent victim played by Alison Lohman, the gruesome and scary old lady played by Lorna Raver, and the perfect, nice boyfriend played by Justin Long. Apart from the cast, Raimi does rely heavily on CGI for this film, and succeeds by making it spooky and scary for his audience.
I'm everyone, and no one.
Number 2, Darkman, 1990.
Call me.
Before we go forward, please consider subscribing to us. Your small click will help us to continue creating videos for you. Let's continue.
Darkman.
Peyton Westlake is a brilliant scientist who is working on his most recent project to create synthetic skin, and the only flaw is, the skin doesn't last for longer than 99 minutes. After a series of events, mobsters attack Peyton, because of which he's horribly burnt and assumed dead. The story doesn't end there, as Peyton sets out to seek revenge on those who wronged him, hence creating the superhero, Darkman. He can now take on the appearance of anyone using the synthetic skin, but the only flaw is, he only has 99 minutes to do so. Raimi's first major film in the superhero genre was full of thrill, suspense, and a rather dark theme. Darkman sets the bar for his future superhero films, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, and soon-to-be-released, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Despite not being Raimi's first choice, Liam Neeson proves to be the perfect Peyton Westlake and worked 18 hours a day with a whole lot of makeup for this particular role. A well-paced film, with constant action of some kind, keeps its viewers entertained and serves almost perfectly as a revenge film. Number 3, The Evil Dead, 1981. 5 students from Michigan State University decided to spend their weekend in an isolated cabin in rural Tennessee. As they begin approaching the cabin, they notice a porch swing move on its own, and things get weirder when Cheryl hears a demonic voice chanting, "Join us." In this process, Cheryl is scarred and terrified but decides not to mention it to anyone else. Later, during dinner, the trapdoor flies open. And while the women stay, Ash and Scott decide to go investigate. In the cellar, they find a tape recorder and Natrum Demontu, which is a Sumerian version of the Egyptian Book of the Dead. The boys take these belongings back to the group and decide to play the tape, which leads to the resurrection of a demonic entity. As the film progresses, the five must fight for their lives and try and make it out alive, but will they succeed? The Evil Dead by Sam Raimi sets the tone for many such films in the future that use a similar concept. However, this being the original retains its charm, becoming one of Raimi's most loved and watched films. With a plot that is simple to follow, this film explores the beginning of the splatter era in cinema, which works brilliantly even today. Raimi, as always, does a terrific job of building an atmosphere that keeps its audience on the edge of their seats, eagerly waiting for what's to come on screen. Number 4, Evil Dead 2, 1987. Ash Williams and his girlfriend Linda decide to go on a romantic getaway in a cabin in the woods. In the cabin, Ash plays a tape that he finds of an archaeologist. In this tape, Raymond is reciting passages from the Book of the Dead. This recorded chant unleashes a demonic entity also called the Kandarian demon that possesses Linda. Sadly, this leads to Ash decapitating his own girlfriend and burying her near the cabin. Eventually, Ash too briefly becomes possessed by this demon, but when day breaks, things go back to normal and he decides to leave the woods, but soon finds out that the bridge has been destroyed. He is then chased back to the cabin where Linda's head attacks him, but he manages to overpower it, slashing her to death once again, along with running a chainsaw through his own hand which was possessed. It is now up to 5 people to fight the Kandarian demon once and for all, but the question remains, will they succeed? Evil Dead 2 has by far been the best film of the franchise, with a slightly bigger budget. It manages to top the first part by miles, surprising everyone. The beginning of this film serves as a recap of the first film and then dives into an even more thrilling plot for its fans and viewers to enjoy. Every single frame and scene of this film delivers over and over again, with not a single dull moment. In fact, in a recent interview, Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel Studios, said that Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness will make Evil Dead 2 fans very happy. Number 5, Army of Darkness, 1992. After being accidentally transported to the Middle Ages, Ash Williams is now captured by Lord Arthur's men, who are convinced that Ash is a spy for Duke Henry, who they are currently at war with. They are both being held at Arthur's castle where Ash is thrown into a pit and he kills a deadite, a demonic parasitic entity, and recuperates his shotgun and chainsaw from Arthur's wise man. Now, Ash is celebrated as a hero and he begins to form an attraction to Sheila. He finds out that the only way he can leave this era and return back to his time is through the Book of the Dead, Necronomicon Ex Mortis, and so begins his quest for the book and his journey to try and go back to his home. Meanwhile, an entire army of Deadites rises, and now it's upon Ash to fight them. If he succeeds, will this be his chance to back to his era? Or will he be stuck in the Middle Ages? Despite being set in a different time period altogether, Army of Darkness serves perfectly as the third installment of the Evil Dead franchise with Ash Williams in the center of the story. This installment sees a lack in the gore and blood department, but it makes up for it with its plot and witty humor that keep everyone entertained from start to finish. While this film might have failed to deliver on a few accounts when compared to the first 2 Evil Dead films, it still manages to pull off because at the end of the day, it is a Raimi staple and definitely worth your time.
The Lion!
Number 6, Oz, the Great and Powerful, 2013. Providing an origin story to the beloved character of the Wizard of Oz, Oz the Great and Powerful begins in 1905 Kansas, where Oscar Diggs, played by James Franco, a magician and con artist, escapes in a hot air balloon trying to flee the circus strongman who had found out that he had been flirting with his wife. Caught up in a tornado, Oscar's black and white 4x3 world transforms into the vibrant widescreen land of Oz. He is found by Theodora, who assumes him to be the prophesied wizard who will defeat the Wicked Witch and become the King of Oz. Entranced by the riches of the monarch, Oscar agrees with Theodora and embarks on a journey to the Emerald City. Upon reaching the Emerald City, Theodora's sister Evanora sends him to the Dark Forest to kill the Wicked Witch. Along the way, Oscar gathers new friends that help him become more human. However, the witch they find in the Dark Forest is actually Glinda the Good Witch. With a reformed heart, yet still armed with his usual quips, Oscar tries to save the land of Oz from Evanora, the actual Wicked Witch, using his usual tricks and conmanship. A prequel to the 1939 classic, Wizard of Oz, this movie had big shoes to fill. And for the most part, it does. Oz the Great and Powerful works as a credible origin story set in a colorful world that, at times, might be jarringly obvious with its CGI. However, once immersed in the adventure Raimi's taking you on, you might not pay much attention to it. The film suffers from one-tone characters that don't have enough meat for actors to dig their claws into. However, the colorful fantastical spectacle that is Oz the Great and Powerful keeps you hooked. Number 7. The Gift, 2000. In the quaint town of Brixton, Jessica King, played by Katie Holmes, the local school principal's promiscuous fiancé, disappears. The catch? The only witness to the crime wasn't even at the crime scene. Cate Blanchett as Annabelle Wilson sees visions of Jessica's body being dumped in a pond. While apprehensive of her abilities, the local sheriff, Pearl Johnson, carries out a search at Donnie Barksdale property which fits Annie's description. While Donnie is painted in different shades of criminal, violent, abusive, and as discovered later in the film, embroiled in an affair with Jessica, he may not be the real culprit after all. In a world woven with infidelity, jealousy, and silent crimes behind closed doors, Annie might be the most at risk due to all that she is able to see clearly. At the end of the day, will her gift be the reason for her being caught up in the middle of a storm, or will it be her savior? While less gruesome than some of Raimi's initial directorial ventures, The Gift still incorporates horror elements in Annie's haunting visions and chilling soundtrack. With a star-studded cast including the likes of Cate Blanchett, Katie Holmes, Keanu Reeves, Hilary Swank and others, and a spectacular director guiding them, The Gift had everything going for it. However, some deemed it a by-the-numbers whodunit murder mystery that was way too predictable for its own good. Predictable plot or not, The Gift features spectacular acting and direction which will surely keep you well engaged. Number 8. A Simple Plan, 1998. Two brothers and a mutual friend stumble across a stash of more than $4 million in a crashed airplane while chasing a fox in the woods. Hank, being sane amongst them all, suggests turning in the money, but the other two disagree. After Hank proposes to keep the money safe at his house, trouble ensues. When Sarah, Hank's wife, starts getting involved in the narrative, from plotting plans to save her family from complications to investigating about the money and the airplane herself, things only go haywire. It's not until Lou turns greedy for the money and Hank's manipulation tricks start to surface that opens more gates for trouble. Amidst all of this, a murder is committed and two FBI officers, Baxter and Carl, interrogate the case of the crashed aircraft. With Sarah still running her private investigation, the case speeds up only to reveal shocking yet plausible facts joining the dots between the money found and the FBI officers. Easily one of Billy Bob Thornton's supreme performances, this film, coupled with great screenplay and cinematography, deserves to be on the list of must-watch crime thrillers. Filled with plot twists, words of wisdom, self-reflecting dialogues, every character mirrors different kinds of people you find in society and how money or power associated with it can only chaos in one's life. It might be an uncomfortable watch, but it portrays emotions in a very veracious manner and packs quite an eloquent performance by the whole cast. That's our list of Sam Raimi films you can binge until Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness hits theaters. How many of these will you be adding to your binge list? Do let us know in the comment, and stick around for more awesome movie suggestions. Stay safe, and have a good one.